all begins with an idea. New ideas propel our businesses and professional lives. You could be searching for a new product or service, or have an organizational roadblock. The common thread is the desire for fresh thinking and new ideas, the fuel for tomorrow's success. Steve Rivkin's all about creativity, brainstorming, and innovation. His interactive and entertaining presentations of real-world examples will show you how to develop your blueprint for more effective problem solving and brainstorming. These presentations are drawn from IdeaWise, Steve's highly acclaimed book on how to turn your ideas into gold. It's been called required reading for every manager in America.
Where did the last idea you had come from? Can you retrieve the thought process? Did you assimilate a lot of information, let it stew for a while, and then all of a sudden, voila, there it came? Where did that last idea come from? That's what I'm going to talk to you about tonight, and look for the shortcuts, the learned lessons, and the ways to jumpstart that process to get more ideas, better ideas, and faster ideas. What most audiences need to be reminded is that they can do this. They are innovative. They are creative. They were creative as children, but so much of it has been wiped out over time. So what I try to do is get them in touch again with all those good energies, all those good impulses that let them feel comfortable in a group setting, particularly being creative, being open to new ideas, and then expressing their ideas as part of the group process. In the last 6 months, how many of you have been involved in a work team or a group or a project which in any form involves something like brainstorming? Show of hands. Okay. Pretty much what I expected. The most common undertaking in American business to solve problems, but they don't always work well. They can be frustrating and a waste of time. So let's talk a little bit about why they work well and why this one worked well, and it wasn't just because of the dollars, although setting a playful environment, having some fun with the assignment. 7 o'clock at night may not be everybody's ideal time to tackle new thinking. So refreshing ourselves with something playful, something inventive, is one way to approach it. Brainstorming has been around for 70 or 80 years. The technique has been used that long. But it's often misused, and that's what I hope I can start off by sharing some thoughts with you. Many people say they go back to their own teams and they use the very same exercises, the very same illustrations, the very same mini case studies, and say, look, this is how it worked for so-and-so. This is how it worked for this company or this organization. What can we learn from that? Let's draw from that experience and apply it to ourselves. So they actually use those case studies as an exercise to challenge themselves to see how can we borrow that idea and adapt it to our own specific situation. What happens if you judge as you go in a brainstorming session? You know, permit the kind of conversation that says, well, that would never work, or we tried that last year, sounds like it'd be awfully expensive. What happens if you do that? It stops everybody. It inhibits people. It's critical, and people withdraw or pull back. Nobody wants to have their ideas criticized, but if it's an open forum where it's clear that this is just for the generation of ideas and later on they're going to be judged, perhaps by us, perhaps by someone else, you get a chance to feel a little bit freer, a little bit more open. Criticism is the killer of more brainstorming sessions than anything else. And you can inhibit it by first setting those kind of ground rules. Number two, by the people you invite who want to be there and aren't inherently critical. And then having somebody, a facilitator or someone else, monitor that and not let people get away with all kinds of critical comments. Here's a collection of them that I've picked up over the years. We've tried that, take too much time, cost too much. Maybe next year our customers would never go for that. They'll never buy that. These people don't count. That's not how we do things here at XYZ Industries. We don't have enough time right now. Every one of those has a dampening, deadening effect on what good can come out of a session. All right, what to do about that? Well, a couple tricks, things that work. Number one, try to get agreement early on that you're going to have these rules of the road that you're not going to criticize. Try to get everybody to buy into that charter, that covenant for the group. Okay, you try. Because at least if you've said it, then I can come back to Dr. Naysayer and say, you know, you may be right. That could be too difficult or whatever technically to achieve that. But in the spirit of the session, remember we agreed before we weren't going to criticize. So let's move on. Most people get it. For those that don't, here's a technique that works very well. After somebody's been asked not to do that, but has succeeded in criticizing yet another idea, someone, ideally the moderator or the facilitator, comes and says, David, you know, you kind of wandered off the reservation there. That was a pretty critical comment, and the fact that April over here is in tears may have something to do with your vicious commentary. But then what you do is say, David, so that idea is kind of clobbered. Since you knocked that out of the box, do something for me. Replace it with 2 new ideas of your own. Would you do that for us, please? Now, it's mildly confrontational to do that. Mildly. But in the spirit of brainstorming, most people quickly get the idea that if they do go ahead and criticize somebody else's, they're going to be asked to substitute not 1 but 2 for it. So a little mild confrontation works wonders on everybody else. And often the fact that Dave has been that critical person, he may be just ready to, okay, I'm ready, I'll give you one, I've got, that's fine. That's fine, but you've made the point. Sometimes it is necessary to engage people that way and say, hold on, the rules say we want everybody to contribute, and therefore everybody's ideas are valuable. Most people are being challenged more and more in business, put into group sessions, put into rooms and expected to solve problems. What I think has happened is the expectations are great, the desire is there, people feel empowered, but they don't have the tools that help empower them. So what I like to do in these sessions is offer a whole range of tools, practical exercises, things that have worked for others, things that were used once upon a time but are applied today. What are new ideas? Often it's applied imagination, things that were used once upon a time but are now brought back, so that I can contribute in this group setting, feeling comfortable that I have some tools, I have some knowledge, I have some ways to proceed. I just don't have to sit there and say, what am I thinking? What new thinking could I bring to bear on this problem that my company faces? Now I have specific techniques. I have tools that I've seen work for others. Let me use these in the assignment that I've got in front of me.
One of the most valuable tools is this 7-part approach for generating new ideas. Steve Rivkin's presentations challenge the audience to apply these questions as a blueprint for innovation, and his dozens of examples and case studies show them the way.
What can we combine? Here's a fun illustration. What could we combine? Here's an interesting one. Band-Aids with antibiotic right on the pad. For generations, moms faced with a kid who scraped his or her knee did what? First address the upset child, and there's this bleeding scrape or scratch, whatever. What's the first thing mom wants to do to the scrape? Clean it out. Put what on it? Peroxide. Did somebody say bleach? No, I didn't hear bleach, did I? Neosporin is what yes, that's what you meant. My ears are playing tricks on me. Clean it out, and then do what? Then get a Band-Aid. So it's 2 steps. Here, 1 step. There's antibiotic right on the pad. More expensive than traditional Band-Aids? Oh, of course. But worth it, because we'll pay for convenience. What is this? A healthy combination, understanding how the customer uses your product. There's a real lesson there. Crawl inside the actual life experience of how is it used. The Band-Aid doesn't exist in isolation. It's always with peroxide, Neosporin, something else, and then the Band-Aid. The breakthrough idea was, well, what if we combined them? What could you combine?
Steve Rivkin is a nationally recognized marketing strategist and expert on innovation. In addition to his popular IdeaWise book on innovation, Steve is the co-author with Jack Trout of 3 books on marketing strategy, books that have been translated into 16 languages. The New Positioning, a sequel to the international bestseller that introduced the concept of positioning. The Power of Simplicity, a guide to coping with the complexity of management and leadership issues. Differentiate or Die, a book on how to find and exploit your unique selling proposition. His most recent book is The Making of a Name, a comprehensive study of the strategies behind brand names. Steve has presented hundreds of speeches, seminars, and workshops around the world. For more information on Steve Rivkin, contact the provider of this video. Thanks for watching.